Hello, this is the maraverse, and my face is wet because I was actually so excited to film this that I got anxious and then I had to jump around and then splash my face. And needless to say, I'm not feeling very grounded, and that's exactly what this practice is for. Let me go grab something real quick. Okay. We are going to eat a meal together. So go ahead, get whatever it is that you feel like having, whether that's a snack, whether that's a bowl of porridge. Share it in the comments with me. I feel like my brain's just running right now, probably because I need to eat, I need to ground. If you're feeling that too, yeah, go ahead, get whatever it is that you need. This is for us to show up exactly as we are. No comparison, no shaming. Just us tuning in to how we can nourish ourselves right now. I'm no guru. I'm just a girl trying her very, very best, trying to live a lighter, more intentional life. If you are on a similar path, thank you. I would love to have you in this community. What do I have, you may ask? Today's dish is a little protein mix I made. Basically it's soy milk, but I make it with soy protein. And then I put chocolate and carob in it. And then I put pea crisps and berries and some chocolate on top. You saw it in the thumbnail. Oh, wait, before I put it in my mouth, let us take our first bite together. Do you have your food? Yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1. The rain is really picking up outside. I'm gonna turn the fan off. Today's been really interesting. I woke up with a lot of love on my recent TikTok video where I post astrology content, and I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful that I didn't expect my take on Capricorn Venus to resonate as much as it did, and it just means a lot. I was worried that it was too wordy, didn't have enough photos, that I didn't reference all of my sources. But I got it out there, and I'm going to keep creating things and keep refining as I keep creating. And I'm really glad that as I am on this process, occasionally it hits. And I hope that more and more it will hit, but that's not going to stop me from creating. I'm gonna refill my tea. Now you'll hear the sound of the tea kettle keeping itself warm in the background. There's no right way to do this. Just to be here. I am speaking out affirmations to myself. Things that make my life a little easier. Because there's many unavoidable challenges in life. So how can we lean into ease so that we can weave our way through? My nutritionist recently recommended the book The Prophet to me, and I've been listening to the audiobook version of it. I really need to buy that book and highlight, take my notes, reread it. At first, when he recommended it, I was like, oh, it's probably something like some 2010s Instagram poetry. I don't know why I didn't trust him. I literally started seeing this nutritionist because he is one of the few people who I trust. And I guess even with him recommending a book to me, my pride got in the way. And it's so funny to me because the more that our pride gets in the way of, let me rephrase that, the more that we listen to our prideful nature, that part, that voice of pride, we'll say, the less we can tune into the voice of curiosity and openness, and that's where the learning happens. And as someone in the pursuit of curiosity and growth, it's really interesting when that voice of pride tries to tell me, no, you can't engage with this material because it will limit your curiosity. Your time is better spent elsewhere. Like, it's so, simply put, judgmental before having built a relationship with something, having built a deep relationship with something. Like, what was my judgment even based on? And it's not like I held this judgment super strongly. As soon as I recognized it, I was quite able to let it go. But it was there nonetheless. And now it's just interesting for me to point out and kind of chuckle at. I love berries so much. And the texture of like freezing them with this little porridge mix that I have is just so satisfying to me. It tastes like a berry crumble, but cold. In the background, that's our cat Meatball. Before I sat down to start filming, I kept having all these ideas about what I was going to talk about, and this vision in my mind of me being this like cool, super cool influencer I don't like it when I motion in a way that's judgmental towards myself. I'll be a little kinder. And I had this vision of me being this super cool individual who just like sat casually eating a meal and chatting about their life. And maybe we'll get there eventually. But the point is not to... Wait, oh, now it smells like your poo. Meatball. The point is to just be here, to be me, to show up and free you to be you. And actually, on freedom, let's go to that book, The Prophet. There's a section there on freedom. Okay, and an orator said, "Speak to us of freedom." And he, the prophet, answered, "At the city gate and by your fireside I have seen you prostrate yourself and worship your own freedom, even as slaves humble themselves before a tyrant and praise him praise him though he slays them. I, in the grove of the temple and in the shadow of the citadel, I have found the freest among you wear their freedom as a yoke and a handcuff. And my heart bled within me, for you can only be free when even the desire of seeking freedom becomes a harness to you, and when you cease to speak of freedom as a goal and a fulfillment. You shall be free indeed when your days are not without a care, nor your nights without a want and a grief, but rather when these things girdle your life, and yet you rise above them, naked and unbound. And how shall you rise up beyond your days and nights unless you break the chains which you at the dawn of your understanding have fastened around your noon hour? In truth, that which you call freedom is the strongest of these chains, though its links glitter in the sun and dazzle your eyes. And what is it but fragments of your own self that would discard your own self you would discard that you may become free? If it is an unjust law you would abolish, that law was written with your own hand upon your own forehead. You cannot erase it by burning your law books, nor by washing the foreheads of your judges, though you pour the sea upon them. And if it is a despot you would dethrone, see first that his throne erected within you is destroyed. For how can a tyrant rule the free and the proud, but for a tyranny in their own freedom and a shame in their own pride? And if it is a care you would cast off, that care has been chosen by you rather than imposed upon you. And if it is a fear you would dispel, the seat of that fear is in your heart and not in the hand of the feared. Verily, all things move within your being and constant half embrace, the desired and the dreaded, the repugnant and the cherished, the pursued and that which you would escape. These things move within you as lights and shadows in pairs that cling. And when the shadow fades and is no more, the light that lingers becomes a shadow to another light. And thus, your freedom, when it loses its fetters, becomes itself the fetter of a greater freedom. Very Hegelian, but also very Eastern philosophy. And I'm curious, those of you that know philosophy, what you think about separating philosophy into Eastern and Western thought. Because while there are, like, historically kind of separate, parallel, maybe, developments, due to, like, literature splitting, I think, since, like, Mesopotamia. I believe, I'm not a historian yet. There's also a lot of overlap in thinking. And are we doing ourselves an injustice by... are we doing individual philosophers an injustice by categorizing them as Eastern or Western? I don't think it's necessarily an injustice so long as people understand that Eastern and Western, these categories exist to paint a historical context for the thought and not as a container of the whole thought itself, which goes back into that concept of freedom and what it means to be free. And, you know, if a box traps a concept, an individual's thought from being expressed and known and seen, might it also be a way to free it by giving us the context to understand it? If that makes sense. Like, I mean, take a complex concept that you don't understand, a language, let's say, because what are people's thoughts but another language? When you hear people who are fluent in that language speaking that language, it sounds like gibberish to you. So, like, looking at that language as a whole, you're not going to have any kind of ways of understanding it. So it takes, like, little more rudimentary translations and exposures to that language to begin bridging that understanding, to begin allowing for one step into the next. And you're never going to see the entirety of it. I'm speaking about a very Virgo Venus thing as well, with Virgo constantly trying to perfect in the name of Venus, beauty, love, aesthetics, because Virgo is working towards Libra. Virgo is material earth, taking the light of Leo and converting it into air, taking passion, fire, converting it into intellect, into thought form, air, through material processes. This is a mutable sign, mutable earth sign. And Libra, air, is ruled by Venus, love, beauty, aesthetics. In order to make any sort of motion, Virgo cannot get hung up in the aesthetics, the ideal, the trying to see it as a whole. It has to be grounded in their process. So they try to perfect their process because they know that the perfect product comes from perfect processing. But it's a direction. It's not a place of presence. It's where the present is headed. And so Virgo at their best recognizes that there's no point in ever trying to punish themselves for not being there. They are content with their dissatisfaction. They know that their dissatisfaction is a direction. I love Virgos so much. Depending on where this placement is, they have a tendency to like really just be able to focus on themselves, focus on perfecting their craft. It doesn't have to be loud. They don't have to talk about it with everyone, even though this is Mercury ruled. This like, they might talk about their passions with people, that Leo, but their struggles with perfectionism, if they struggle with perfectionism, like that's something that is just a part of their life. I even hesitate to call it a struggle because it's like used as fuel. think we're all seeing this energy play out right now as Venus is in Virgo. See, Venus is in her detriment in Virgo. She's not comfortable. The way I illustrate this is like Virgo is this editor of this big newspaper, has a lot of responsibilities, has their workflow, knows what they are doing. They're writing an article on Venus. Venus is like their muse. All of a sudden, Venus walks into the room. Divine model, divine artist, and meets with Virgo in their editing office and starts suggesting all of these edits and being like, starts trying to become the creative director herself. And Virgo can get really confused because it's like, well, like I'm writing this article in honor of Venus, so like I want it to reflect her, but also Venus is the model, not the editor. That's my job. That's me. So there's this balance of characteristics that have to come. When does Virgo listen to the muse? You know, when is Venus's suggestions actually aiding in Virgo's processes? And when does Virgo need to trust that they already know what they're doing? Anyways, if you want more of my astrology, I post quite frequently on TikTok. Every other day, I'm posting Venus posts currently, so stay tuned for my Virgo Venus post, and also comment your Venus sign 22222 2222 on the clock as I said that, so that I know who's interested in seeing what, or a placement that you would love to see a post on, because it gives me fuel. I love it. Otherwise I'm just gonna do my own thing. So comment as well if you just want to see me do my own thing. But I'm going to do that regardless. And on Instagram, I'm sharing food in New York City. I'm sharing my adventures, my thoughts, my weird stuff. I'm expanding my ability to express myself because I want to show up in a space like this. Second time. How are you doing with your meal? How do you feel? I feel like time has flown. And I feel a little bit more grounded. So thank you. We will hang out until I have finished this bowl. Now I'm curious, what is your relationship to silence? When was the last time you experienced silence? And what did that feel like for you? Like, just how far? How do you define silence? Is it when no one is talking? Is it when there are no sounds going on outside? Have you ever experienced true silence? I don't know if I have. I don't know if I can. That doesn't mean that I haven't experienced peace. All of my questions aren't to make you anxious. There's no need to know an answer. But putting the questions out there helps build a direction. It opens up curiosity. And those open doors are paths towards building relationships through growing experience. And that's where life becomes so rich. Just a little bit left, and we'll say our goodbyes. There you go. I'll show you my empty bowl. Thank you for spending this time with me, for taking care of yourself, especially. Hopefully you breathe a little easier now, but however you breathe, you're loved. You are so loved. You are so worthy. Have a great day.